Be really careful. But we're going to carry on with this when we come back. About the Unspoken Rules of Love with my buddy Joel. And you know, we got some good stuff in this book. You better get out and get it. I mean, it's all kinds of stuff. How much do you cost? Does he want something or someone? The force of patience. Magical thinking. The power of a woman. I like that chapter a lot. Desire versus need.
Right.
But I want to talk about attraction because I was flying home this weekend, and I was reading our book, and this woman was, like, all over in my seat. And so, of course, then she had to tell me all her business. And the stories I hear. Anyway, she was telling me about this guy that she liked, and how this guy didn't really say that he liked her. He was actually crying over some other girl when she went out with him. But they started getting attracted to each other, so they started going out, and she ended up sleeping with the guy, and she thought things were going to be okay between them, and then he was excited because somebody else wanted him to meet this other girl, and he started telling her that he would know this woman, and she said, well, what about me? And he said, well, we're just friends. Now, okay, he's not so bad because she actually had a boyfriend who was like a nice guy, who was kind of rich, took her on fancy vacations. She said, well, he just isn't romantic. He just doesn't communicate. But all the other stuff was in place. The more I started asking her about this guy, this was the consistent one, the faithful one, the nice one, who was considerate. But she liked this other guy who was obviously a jerk. What happens to us? Let's talk about attraction. Where do we get this, he's not my type? Anybody here ever said that?
I think that the reasons, we need to investigate the reasons why we are attracted to who we're attracted to.
Please tell me why.
Sometimes it's to make up for something we feel we lack.
Okay.
Or to adjust for something we've been through. I know people who've gone through a real turbulent relationship may be attracted to someone who's really peaceful.
You look for the opposite.
Yeah, but then over a period of time find themselves bored, stiff.
Yeah.
See, and so who you're attracted to could relate to the season you're in, or it could relate to something you feel you're missing. I know sometimes good girls are attracted to bad guys.
Yeah.
Because they feel they want excitement.
They say they're like a little trash with their class.
Yeah, I've heard that one too. And so what they need, I tell them, if they want excitement, climb Mount Everest or something, because what starts out as exciting can really become old over a period of time. And so there's a difference between what I'm attracted to and what I respect.
Okay.
Now, the example I use is a guy at the Topless bar, and he's sitting there, and he's looking at the lady dancing, and he's having a ball, and he is obviously attracted to her. And then his daughter comes out.
And he has a fit, I know.
He has a fit because and what it is that what he's attracted to, he doesn't respect. And respect has a lot more to do with relationship lasting than attraction over the long haul. See, and so what you have to do is investigate your heart and say, now what I'm attracted to, for guys, they see a woman in a short skirt, but then won't let her wear it after they get married.
Right.
See what I'm saying? And so you have to make sure that your values are lined up as far as your attraction, and you need to adjust your attraction. Like for me.
How do you adjust your attraction?
I think through enlightenment. Like I used to mistake neediness for love.
It fed your ego, didn't it?
Yeah, and if the person,
guys like that.
It seems safe, where are you? What you doing? You haven't called me in 5 minutes. I need to see you. Come on.
And 5 minutes.
And all that stuff was very, it really turned me on at first, but then after a while, it was like an appendage that needed to be surgically removed, and it was, and so I was attracted to it, because it's a weakness.
Yes.
But over the period of time, I don't respect weak people. And so over a period of time, I lost respect. I would lose respect for them and want to get away from them because what I thought was love was actually neediness. And so we have to investigate why we are attracted to who we're attracted to.
That's good. But what's this whole thing about? I mean, women feel pressured to look a certain way because the media is flashing all these women around. I mean, VH1 just did this whole hour on just a woman's behind. I mean, how do you live up to all of this? You know what I'm saying?
I missed that in my research, but
I was flipping. I have to confess, I got fascinated. I just kind of just stopped there, you know. But you know, there's so much pressure for us to look a certain way. Mm-hmm. We're killing ourselves losing weight and doing things to our hair and our teeth and everything because we think we have to look a certain way because we all have been taught that men are guided by what they see. Mm-hmm. You know, how do we get to a place of rest with that where we're just happy to be us and whoever likes us the way we are is good?
Well, I mean, one of the things that you and I were talking about when we decided that this really needed to become a book mm-hmm. was the balance of the whole attraction thing. Mm-hmm, okay, mm-hmm. I think the key for a woman is just to be the best you can be. Mm-hmm. You know, you may not look like somebody in a magazine. I say some of those people are starving. Mm-hmm. You know, they're
airbrushed too. Let me tell you.
Yeah, but they actually have, you know, psychological problems mm-hmm. which are producing that weight. You know, and so just be the best you can be. You should be in good health. You should be in good shape. Exercise should be a part of what you do on a regular basis. And just be the best you can be. Mm-hmm. Because before you get his heart, you're going to have to turn his head.
That's true.
See, so you don't want to fall victim to the pressure that's put on women. But at the same time, you want to realize that for a man, depending upon the man, it can be an important issue.
Beauty is fleeting. Mm-hmm. Charm is deceitful. But, you know, there's the other thing, too. For a woman, the fantasies that we live in, too, when it comes to men. Because we all want the rich man. But we forget that the rich man is busy doing whatever it takes to be rich. So then those types of women end up being unhappy because that man is never at home.
Right.
And so I think it's really important for us to make an assessment of what we really want versus what we think we need.
Right.
Versus what we really need, what
right.
we think we want. But I know we've got lots of questions, so let's get to some of the questions. Who's got a question first?
One right here.
Ah.
Hi, talking about being assertive as opposed to being the meek, quiet, gentle spirit. As little girls, we were raised with either you had a mother that, you know, women are to be seen and not heard, or, okay, I don't want you to make the same mistakes I've made, so you're going to be this strong leader in the community, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And then you get saved, you come to the Lord, and again, the Bible says, a woman, a man who finds a wife finds a good thing, so they're to find you. Mm-hmm. So where is the happy medium of being assertive with guys on where's our relationship, or are we just friends or whatever, or do you just sit there and keep your mouth shut? Where is the happy medium?
Well, I think that the happy medium is waiting until there's cause for a question. That means you're not pursuing the man. But as he begins to pursue you, if he starts showing signs that cause you confusion, you have the right to know if you should be confused or if you should know where you're going, It's like if you were driving in a car with someone, you don't ask where are we going every 5 minutes. But if you're both going somewhere as you think you're going and the car turns left, your natural instinct is to say, wait a minute, I thought we were going that way. Where exactly are we going? It becomes okay for you to ask a question.
As far as personality, I believe you should be yourself. Mm-hmm. But a woman should never pursue a man. Now, in one of the chapters, we teach women how to work it. You can work it, okay?
Look at that.
You can work it. And maybe we'll get into that. We teach women how to work it, but you should never pursue a man. And the reason being is that you don't know where he is. Okay, and let's turn the tables. I mean, there's two guys in a room. One guy you're really attracted to. He really does it for you. And then another guy he's okay, and the okay guy comes and talks to you. Well, you're going to talk to him because nobody else is talking to you. But if number one guy comes along, you're going to drop him like a hot coal, And so for that reason, if you're pursuing a man, you never really know whether or not you're a priority with that man because it's not costing him anything again to be in your life. And so that makes a woman vulnerable when she pursues a man. And we know there's a lot of reading nowadays that says go for what you want, pursue it. But we really think that's bad for women to do.
Because if he has nothing to do, he will play with you for a while until he sees something he wants to pursue. Okay, we have a question over here.
My question deals with men pursuing women.
Right.
Earlier you alluded to allowing a man to pursue you versus encouraging him to pursue you. My question is, what's the difference between the two, and which one is better?
Okay. Well, I'm not sure we made a difference between those two terms, but this is what you do is without taking the lead, you don't lead it, but you make sure you let the man know that you're happy about him being in your life, that you are open to a relationship. You have to encourage, especially shy guys, because there are some of the best guys are just not real aggressive guys, but they're guys who are great in relationships. And so those kind of guys, you have to let them know that you're really enjoying their company, those kinds of things, without you actually taking the lead and beginning to pursue him. Does that help? Okay.
Okay, we have another question.
You know, we hear all about opposites attracting, and it's really confusing when you're, you know, praying and thinking about what you're looking for. Is it better to be with someone who is just like you, in good ways and bad? Or is it better to be with an opposite? Or what is your comment on that, I guess?
Well, somebody said if both of you are alike, one of you is not necessary. But I think that you have to, there's a difference between characteristics and temperament, and that you do need to have common visions and common passions and common goals, because opposites may attract, but they don't necessarily stay together if they don't agree on anything. And so you have to have a foundational likeness in a sense, but then be interesting to one another because of the different things that you bring to the table in the relationship.
Yes.
Add to that?
Yeah, I think there's gifting differences which actually may complement if your weakness is the other person's strength. But in the area of values and worldview, the way you see things, those things should definitely be the same, because ultimately I don't respect people as much who don't see things my way. You know, I mean, I see things the way I see them because I think that's right. And so if there's value differences, then that can really be a strain on a relationship.
So another question? Oh, right over here.
There are a lot of books out there right now that are saying Christians should forego dating altogether, or you need to be, you know, best buddies for years before you actually start dating and get married. And yet earlier you also said, you know, you don't always move from one, you're categorized, you don't move from one place to another. So what's your opinion on whether you should be friends for any length of time before you actually start dating and become romantically involved?
Well, I think you should be friends long enough to see if you're interested in entering into courtship. I mean, this person that you're going to live with for the rest of your life has to be your friend. Right. You should, in a sense, be marrying your best friend. That means that you all have grown together, and somewhere along the way you recognize that you meant more to one another and that you did not want to live apart or without one another anymore.
And that's why we call the book The Unspoken Rules, because a lot of it has to do with the person. There's some people that really don't need to be dating, and there are other people who can operate fine in a dating situation. But if you don't understand these rules about giving your heart too early, the other rules don't really help you.
That's true.
They don't really keep you safe. And I've seen people who've been friends for years and get married and only last 2 months because of some other problems that were there that they didn't know what to look for. They didn't have tools for how to judge if a man is mature or not, or if a man is a good person for him.
And I always say dating is not for mating. It is for collecting data.
Right.
The 3 F's: fabric, fit, and finance. Now, read the book to find out more. There's a question over here.
I have a question. As a Christian, where should we be looking to pursue relationships? And are we limited to the church? By the Bible saying we can't be unequally yoked. Well, then how do we pursue relationships?
Yes. Well, you're not limited to the church, but you are limited to Christians by the Bible. And so I think being active, being out doing things that are, if you're doing something of interest, then it increases the likelihood that you will meet somebody of a similar interest. And so I believe you should be active in pursuing things that are honestly pursuits for you. So, but as a female, I would really advise against pursuing a relationship.
Lucy Swindoll says, now, not only should we be interested, but we should be interesting, which means we should be cultivating lives. You know, that means not just going to work and going to church, but having interests and other things that you get involved with socially and creatively that put a spark in your eye because you're enjoying life. And then you attract someone to you because you look like you're having a good time, right?
Right.
You want to add to that, Mr. Joel?
Well, yeah, you have to be an interesting person in order to captivate a person.
That's true.
You know, a lot of Christians are boring.
They are.
They really are. You know, and that's one of my burdens is the whole romantic warrior thing. Because I think a lot of people, I mean, I pastor 2,500 people, and a lot of the singles, they're just not attracted to one another. And they're dating people outside of the church on both sides. And so I think Christians, we need to rev it up, become a little more interesting.
Rev it up, because when we get back, we're going to show you how to close the deal.
Yes.
Well, things have been really heating up around here, let me tell you. You know, I have to ask you, Joel, because you're the man now.
Okay.
How do you close the deal? You know, it's kind of like fishing, isn't it? You're sitting out there, you got to be still. You've told us we can't pursue the man. We're sitting in the boat, we've thrown out our line, we get a little nibble. And we start reeling him in, and somehow he just slips off the line. Did I pull him in too fast, or should I have done it slower? What is the deal?
Well, the real key is to give him the line.
Oh.
Okay? And so there's part of a man, one of the roles a woman plays in a man's life is to mature him.
Okay.
And there's nothing more powerful in a man's life than his attraction to a certain woman.
Okay.
And so, first of all, if a man is attracted to you, you have a great amount of power as long as you haven't had sex with him. When you have sex with him, you lose your power. Because his longing for you, his desire for you is a very powerful thing. And so God gave woman the power of sex. Okay, so what may seem to put her at a disadvantage actually gives her the advantage if she knows her power and how to use it.
Okay.
Because if a man really desires a particular woman, nothing else will do it for him. So that's where your power is. And so you need to know that, and then you have to know how to work it.
Okay.
You have to know how to strike the balance between keeping him interested, but yet not leading the relationship. And so the key is always allow him to lead it and insist that he lead it. Okay?
Now, how do you do that?
Well, first of all, by always insisting that he name the relationship. I mean, you know if you're in a relationship. And so let's say this guy has passed all the tests. We have a lot of tests. The woman has to pass the wholeness test. She has to be whole. And then we have to sort out desire versus need. And we have to sort out so let's say she knows she's attracted to it. This is a healthy relationship. This is a great guy, but he's circling the airport and not landing. So how do we get him to land? Okay. And that's by holding him accountable. Now, your power is in the fact that he could lose you. And so when a man has an unqualified commitment from a woman, there's no reason for him to commit.
That's true, because my mother did that to my dad. They were dating for a year, and she finally said one day, well, it's been nice knowing you. And he said, what are you talking about? She said, well, I never date anybody for more than a year. I think that a man should know what he wants to do after a year. So this is it. It's been nice. It's been real, but goodbye. And he said, we're getting married. Right. And that was the end of that.
Right. Now, what was the key? The key is that she was willing to lose him. And that's the key, is you have to be willing to lose the guy in order to test it, because he may take you up on that.
Okay.
And so you have to be willing to lose. But if you're not willing to lose, you'll never get a commitment out of him. Because remember, the reason you don't commit is because when you commit, you give up options. A commitment causes you to lose options. And nobody wants to give up anything unless they have to. So what balances out his reluctance to lose options is the possibility of losing you. And so you have to let him know, say, man, this is great. This is so great that I really can't stay in this without knowing where it's going. I really care about you. I really love being around you. And it's to the point where now it's scaring me, because I don't know if we're going to be together next week. I don't know if we're going to be a couple next month. And so rather than sit around and wait for the shoe to drop, I think I'll drop the shoe now. And so at least I keep myself. And what happens is, if you get in a relationship where you don't know the direction, you can lose yourself.
That's true.
And that's one of the things we say in the book, is that it's much easier to get another man than to get yourself back once you've lost yourself.
That's true.
So you never give yourself in something and you don't know where it's going. And so you hold him accountable. That's the way Yvonne did me.
She got you too, did she?
Yeah, she told me, she says, what do we have? I said, well, we're friends. She says, well, I don't talk to friends this much. I said, well, how often do friends talk? I'm a man. I'm looking for leadership. And and she says, maybe once a week. I said, well, okay, we won't talk until Sunday then. Tuesday, I was going crazy.
Yeah.
You know? So I called up Tuesday. Okay, it's more than a friendship. You know?
That's good.
And that was the way. And so the process actually matured me as a man, because
you had to own up to something.
Yeah, you had to make a decision. And so decisiveness is something you want out of the man in your life. And so you can actually use your power to help him become decisive.
Okay, now he likes you. You both like each other. What are deal breakers? You know, are there things, because, you know, sometimes you're going along good in a relationship with a guy. You haven't had a bad day, and all of a sudden he just goes schizoid on you, and he's gone, and you don't know why. What has happened?
One of two things. Either you have crossed a value, you've done something that really violated something that's of high value to him, or he met somebody else. And maybe he didn't meet him yet. Maybe he just saw him, but for some reason he wants to go another direction, and he wants to release himself from this commitment or understood commitment so that he can be free to pursue something else.
Okay. But now, what kind of things can we do as women that just really kill it for men? Give me some deal breakers.
Well, one deal breaker could be nagging. Nagging is simply unanointed preaching.
I love it.
You're saying the right thing, but it just doesn't feel good. You know? And so, nagging can be tough one. Control issues can be tough.
Over-neediness, maybe?
Yeah, and that person shouldn't be dating anyway. But yeah, you can suck the life out of somebody, and when they realize that's what's going on, then I've been in relationships where I just woke up one day and said, man, this is sucking the life out of me. And it may have seemed like something changed overnight, but what happened is the attachment was stronger than the commitment. And so you realize that this is not working for me. And so you know, this is on TV, isn't it?
Yeah. And I don't think many men are going to like you when this is over.
But men don't buy books.
That's true. So they say.
I'm selling them out.
But I know that about this time, I can see them vibrating in their chairs. So we're going to go and get some questions. Go ahead.
Okay, this goes with the attraction thing, and this goes with the commitment and making the deal.
Okay.
So it's a gamut. Why am I attracted to guys that don't commit? You know, sometimes people will say, I must have a fear of commitment too, because but I don't know. Those are the guys that I tend to be more attracted to.
Can you feel right about the wrong person, Joel?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the divorce rate is up to almost 60%. So obviously, a lot of people are feeling really good about the wrong people. I think that goes back to the attraction issue. What quality is there in guys? I think you would have to actually be more precise than the not commitment thing. What qualities are in these guys? I mean, are these guys hot guys who have a lot of women around them? And because that could be the problem with them committing.
Yeah, some have been more, I used to even in the past be more attracted to the ones that were very social and well-liked and that kind of thing. But then I kind of did the same thing once I broke up with somebody, started dating somebody completely different, but he still had the same issues.
Okay.
And part of it is just not kind of like that spark, and it's going fast, and all of a sudden he puts on the brakes just when I get interested.
Okay.
So then he backs up.
But what changes when you get interested? Because I have this tendency to find that I've told some women, treat him like the person you're not interested in, and you'll probably be doing just fine. Because something happens when the woman engages. Her whole thing changes, and all of a sudden she wants him to be her oxygen as opposed to being her hero, and he's like out of there.
Well, I think that guy leaving is probably the mercy of God, because any guy who is scared of someone who wants to take something to the next level is not qualified to be your mate. And so he's not mature enough. He's not ready to handle the weight. One of the things we talk about is that there's the outward man and there's the invisible man. And they don't necessarily mature at the same level. And the inward man, his muscles are represented by his ability to handle pressure and responsibility. And if a man can't handle the pressure of your love and the relationship, then he's a kid, he's a boy, and he's not really ready for that kind of weight. And so it's actually a good thing that he left. Now, what I would do if I were you is just examine what are the qualities that I'm attracted to, because you may not be attracted to what you really need in a person.
But can I interject a question here, too? Because there's this whole father issue.
Right.
For men, it's the mother, and with women, it's the father. And they tend to be attracted to someone who's like their father, whether they like their father or not.
Right.
You know, so sometimes we're still trying to solve issues with our daddy, and we're butting up against the same problem.
Right. And you may just be comfortable with someone who was like your father.
Right.
And so that whole thing needs to be examined. You need to say, do I want the kind of life my mother had? And if she had a great life, but your desire, your attraction can change. Okay? Because once I realized where my attraction was leading me, then all of a sudden then that changed in my mind. And what I thought was attractive at one time became it totally changed. Then needy people send me away screaming.
Right.
Yep.
So as we change, our desires change. There's another question over here.
Well, I'm kind of shy, and I was wondering how you let a man know that you're attracted without seeming like you're aggressive in pursuing him.
A pleasant smile and a welcoming demeanor is quite enough. You know,
That's it. That's perfect.
A flower doesn't scream, come and smell me. It just is what it is. It's beautiful. It sits there. We're attracted to it. We want to smell it because it's just doing what it does.
And what we're doing in the book, we're not telling women to play hard to get at all, because that could lose a great prospect by playing hard to get. What we're saying is, let's disqualify the people who wouldn't be good for you.
Yes.
That's all we're saying. And so the tools we're giving, the big smile, the welcome smile, how you respond to the man, you can communicate that he's desired through that without pursuing him.
Sounding happy when he calls. Hey, I'm so glad to hear from you. How you doing? There are other ways to welcome someone into your world besides running after them.
Right.
Okay, over here.
Okay, so then how do you figure out what you need as opposed to what you're attracted to?
Aha.
Well, I don't really like the word need. I like the word desire.
Need reminds you of vegetables, doesn't it?
Exactly. Broccoli, cabbage, that kind of stuff.
But I want the chocolate mousse cake.
Right. And you examine your wants. And looking for a wife, people would talk to me about qualities that they thought a person that I married should have. And I say, that's staff. I hire those qualities.
Right.
I'm not marrying a staff person. My future wife happens to be able to sing well, but I wasn't looking for someone to sing in my church. You can get people in the choir to do that. And so what do you want in a person? What do you really want? What really makes you happy? Not what people think should make you happy.
I want someone who loves me, someone who's attentive, someone who's faithful, who has the same type of passion I have for God. There are practical things that you want, and then the rock star in L.A. gets your eyes. But then he doesn't match the want list.
Right.
And you're able to disqualify a lot easier once you really have solidified what is really important to you over the course of a lifetime. What are the things you want to grow old with?
Yep.
Over here, this the nice guy.
Right.
Kind of on the other side of the coin, what about when a girl has the fear to commit? What should a guy do in that case?
I don't know any women like that. Okay, Joel.
The same rule applies. We're going to put it in the next book. But the same rule applies is let her know she can lose you. If you're
That's
ready,
true.
If you're ready to move on and you're ready to lead a relationship where you're not leading unless somebody's following you. If you're just taking a walk if she's not following you. So what you want is to be prepared to lose her and let her know she could lose you and that you will move on because you want to be in a committed relationship. And that forces someone to face their fears of commitment. I had a lot of fears about committing, and the prospect of losing my future wife forced me to actually deal with that stuff. Otherwise, you just keep it on the shelf because it's painful. It's painful stuff.
I have to agree with that. I think that every woman in here can relate to being out at a shop with a girlfriend and looking at a dress and not knowing that she wanted it till the other girlfriend started acting like she wanted it. Right. You know, there's just something about, it might not be,
Right.
that makes you make a decision real fast.
Right.
One more over here.
I'm curious. Do you think men desire relationships as much as women, but it's just fear that holds them back?
I believe men desire relationships more.
Or,
You look at the statistics, single men don't do real well. They don't live long. They commit almost 95% of the crimes committed on earth are committed by single men. Single men are not stable. Men are not stable by themselves. I mean, the Bible says it.
you said it.
The Bible says it. It's not good for man to be alone. So the Bible says it. And so why did God create woman is to stabilize the man. And so, yeah, men desire a relationship, but it has such an effect on them. They try to weaken it by not committing or by having multiple relationships. So in order to weaken the effect one woman has on me, I'll have several. And so you'll find that men remarry much quicker than women. Men desire relationships. And that's where in the book, Knowing Your Power. See, if you know your power, you can work it.
Work it, work it.